Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Before we head back into more stories relating to the science of the novel coronavirus, the SARS-CoV-2 virus and the COVID-19 disease, we have one important human spaceflight story which made news this weekend. As most people might be aware, on Saturday, SpaceX launched a crewed mission on its Crew Dragon capsule, which then took 2 astronauts and then docked with the International Space Station. This is a very big deal in human spaceflight because this is the first time that a fully private company built by private individuals have managed to launch astronauts into space. Until now, this was a feat that was accomplished only by governments across the world. This launch also made news specifically in America because since the end of the Space Shuttle program in 2011, this was the first time that humans were launched from the American soil into space. For all of the other ISS launches that have been happening so far, Americans have used Russian vehicles launched from Russian territories. In India, we haven't launched any humans from the Indian soil either. Indian and Indian origin astronauts have typically flown from either Soviet territory or the United States territory. The successful SpaceX launch marks a big landmark in human spaceflight because we finally have a private company that can ferry humans to space. First to the ISS, as it did now, and then whenever needed in orbit further on in the future. This mission was technically a test mission to see how the Crew Dragon spacecraft performed, and it looks like it has performed perfectly fine. After this SpaceX launch, the crew of 2 astronauts who took off on Saturday local time took 19 hours to reach the space station, and the Crew Dragon capsule docked with it. The International Space Station, or the ISS, is the largest orbiting space laboratory. It's a multinational collaborative project between 5 space agencies: the United States NASA, Russia's Roscosmos, Japan's JAXA, European Union's ESA, and Canada's CSA. It is the largest artificial object that is currently in space, and it is the largest satellite in low Earth orbit. It orbits at a height of about 400 kilometers from Earth, and it completes one orbit of Earth in about just over 90 minutes. So it goes around the Earth about 15 times a day. ISS was first occupied in the year 2000, and since then it has been continuously occupied for over 19 years. It has never been empty. And the occupying crew, of course, keeps rotating with every new mission. So far, there have been almost 250 astronauts who've stayed in the ISS, and most of them have been Americans. The primary purpose of the International Space Station is performing experiments in space in a microgravity environment. Research is conducted in a bunch of fields here, such as, of course, astronomy, but also astrobiology, how life grows in space, space weather or Earth's weather, meteorology, human biology, material science, and so on. We have equipment that hunts for dark matter. We have carried microscopic organisms to see how they survive in space. There are plants that are growing on the space station. There are experiments on how fire burns in space. People are studying how liquids slosh around in microgravity. People test new kinds of shoes and fabric, and there are also a lot of sophisticated experiments there as well. In space, there's no atmosphere, there's no oxygen. Of course, so ISS is pressurized similar to the pressure at sea level on Earth, and the atmospheric composition inside the cabin of the ISS is also Earth-like. So with a lot of nitrogen, because pure oxygen environment can both become toxic and also increase fire hazard. So Earth-like atmospheric conditions are maintained in all orbital space laboratories. Oxygen is produced by systems that typically split water molecules into oxygen and hydrogen through the process of electrolysis. Oxygen enters the cabin and hydrogen is vented out into space. Water is, of course, not constantly transported up. It is reclaimed, recovered, and recycled. So water vapor from the atmosphere inside the cabin and also water from urine can both be used for this process, and the water is recycled to such a hygienic level that urine water can also be drunk later on. Now, humans who go to space face a very unique problem of their bodies physiologically changing to the low gravity environment. Weightlessness and lack of gravity affects a lot of processes in our human bodies. There is loss of body mass, there's nasal congestion, sleep disturbance, eyesight issued, lowered production of red blood cells, slowing down of cardiovascular function, deterioration of skeleton, muscular atrophy, and much more. Then there are a lot of mental health related issues as well that astronauts undergo when they're up in space. Astronauts are locked up in a tiny floating house with no exposure to outdoors, no social contact beyond the people they see, and thus they tend to face things like isolation and loneliness. This doesn't affect them to a very great degree because they are typically psychiatrically screened to make sure that they can sustain this level of isolation when they're up in space and can continue functioning. One of the interesting responses is that their mental health is affected by missing nature. Astronauts tend to miss things that we on Earth tend to take for granted or barely even notice. They miss the smell of Earth, they miss looking at greenery and looking at trees, and they miss the feel of natural wind on their faces. They miss changing weather patterns, they miss sensing the change in weather and temperature around them, and all of those very small, minute things in our daily lives that we barely notice. About a year ago, in April of 2019, we got results from what is now known as the astronaut twin study. Astronauts Scott Kelly and Mark Kelly are identical twins, and back in 2015, Scott Kelly went up to space to the ISS for 340 days, roughly about a year. His twin, meanwhile, remained here on Earth. The objective was to study how the human body changes in spaceflight and what the long-term effects of spaceflight are on our bodies. So the two astronauts were required to perform identical duties both in space and on Earth to see how they respond. These included things like drawing their blood on specific dates, collecting urine samples on specific dates, performing certain exercises after a certain number of days, playing specific games, testing their reaction speeds and experiments, and also mainly writing down every single thing that they think and feel through the year in a journal. When Scott Kelly came back to Earth after his stint in space, their bodies were compared and they were medically screened. The full analysis of data, the study took 3 years to be completed, and it found that there were many long-lasting changes in Scott Kelly, the twin who went up to space. It turns out that his DNA had new mutations and he had actually gotten healthier. His immune system was on high alert and was jumping into action quickly. His microbiome, which is the set of bacteria that resides in our bodies, had an additional new species of bacteria. There were also many changes that were quickly reversed after he landed on Earth as expected, but some didn't, sparking concern. His cognitive test scores, for example, showed a decline when he was in space, and this did not get fixed after he got back to Earth. Now, Scott Kelly described being back in Earth after spaceflight and adjusting to life like he was fighting through quicksand. Those were his exact words. And this could potentially explain his inability to concentrate and thus perform well on cognitive tests. But astronauts do experience a lot of changes, sometimes permanent, sometimes long-lasting, after they land on Earth. A lot of these are psychiatric. People tend to get depressed, they start abusing alcohol, they have marital problems, they have anxiety, fatigue, concentration difficulty, sleep problems, etc. And a lot of it is also because astronauts are superstars once they're back on Earth. Many suffer from typical celebrity issues of adjusting and carrying on in life thanks to their typical newfound fame and incessant attention. Nevertheless, every trip to space by every individual gives us a whole treasure trove of data that we use to understand our own bodies and the world around us better, helping us figure out how to navigate the future of humanity and human biology. If you like the Prince journalism and our science coverage, Please do contribute financially so that we can get even better and make even better content for you. You can find the contribute link at the top of our website, or you can go to theprint.in/contribute. This is Sandhya Ramesh from Bengaluru for The Print.